Harris, aka the Crazy Uncle. Hey, if this your first time tuning in, go ahead, hit the doggone notification. Hit the subscribe button, then hit the notification bell every time I post up new content. As you can see, I got my glasses on for this one because a lot of times, sometimes you really have to focus in on the bullshit what people in a, let's just say this, probably like in a higher echelon or a higher ranking than what we are, as we as being the common folk, if you will. So I did a show a while back. How well do you know your ABCs? Right? And it's just for the most part, right? I was just actually like really just playing around with the English alphabet just to prove a point, right? That um, yes, we've been taught that there are 26 letters in the English alphabet, right? But here's the deal. Here's the deal, people. You know, we had the English alphabet had to come from another source, another alphabet, if you will. So so I go back and I do some research or whatever. And and for the most part, right, one of the oldest language, if not the oldest language out there, is the Hebrew alphabet, right? Now, uh, now just like I say, for the most part, right, I'm saying this to actually really prove a point here. And for those of y'all that have actually really watched my show long enough, y'all already know that a lot of times I will say shit without actually really saying what it is that I'm actually like, where I'm going with it. But once y'all actually really find out, then y'all can be like, oh, okay, I got what he was saying. I got what he said. So let's just hope for everybody's sake here that you're not a whole next Tuesday, motherfucker. Right? So, with that being said, so the thing about doing this, but before you can actually really get to this one, right? Go back on my channel, find out, find how well do you know your ABCs? Because I actually already got the little ABCs out there and all that kind of stuff. So we're gonna talk about two letters in particular. We're gonna talk about the fourth letter, right? And we're actually really gonna talk about the 15th letter. All right. And for the most part, right, let's just say for shits and giggles, right? Let's actually really take a look at that 15th letter. Triple nickel. Triple nickel. 555, right? And then we all know there's a lot of buildings out there. You can call them buildings, you can call them monuments, call them whatever the fuck you want. But just know that there's only one that I know of that actually really has the triple nickel attached to it. So in our case, right? So we're gonna talk about the letter O. And again, this is going back to what I said in my previous show. How well do you know your ABCs, right? And I actually really picked up the letter O. And what did I ask? What question? Go back and because it was a question that was asked, right? And so I just said, okay, is this a O or is it a zero? Right? And for those of y'all that are actually really old enough, y'all know what the hell happened back in 1999. Everybody was so freaked out. Or the powers that be or the powers that shouldn't be was so worried about what the fuck the computer was gonna do because they really didn't know if the computer was actually really gonna be able to tell the difference between the letter O and the number 0. But here's the deal, people. We all know what 0 represents. Nothing. Right? But it looks so much like the doggone O. Which brings me to this one particular point about the so-called letter O. Right? It's always good, people, especially for you people that love to travel. It's always good to know your alphabets or your ABCs in other languages. And then considering that this right here, the Hebrew alphabet, one of the oldest, if not the oldest language out there, right? And so we're going to go to what, according to the Hebrew calendar, says about the letter O, right? So it's called Samic. I hope I'm saying that right. But here's something else. Wait a minute. It gets what they used to say back in the day. But wait, there's more, right? So I have a lot of stuff highlighted here, right? And I'm not going to be able to hold this up long enough, right? But I encourage everybody here that everybody that's going to actually really watch this show, right? Go and look up go and look up the Hebrew alphabet and look what it says about the letter O, right? Because I'm just going to read it off to you. It's in Hebrew is the serpent and refers to Satan, who is trying to deceive and make us keep the law of the cardinal ordinances through deception, ignorance, and fear by claiming that which goes on to say that the Messiah instituted more carnal ordinances instead of fulfilling and removing them that had already been previous. Hold on, I can't see. I got glasses and I still can't see. Instituted, right? So again, now I want you to actually really pay attention. Now that's what the Hebrew thing say about the letter O, right? So, and then if you actually really, now I know there's a lot of y'all out there that's gonna actually really say, well, the Hebrew language ain't the oldest. The Greek language is the oldest. Okay, well then go over there. And then again, I can sit up here and tell you what the letter O is in the Greek language, right? But my whole purpose of doing shows like this is that I'll put out information, valuable information, and then it's up to y'all to actually go and do the research, right? I just told you what the Hebrew letter O means. It's the serpent, the devil, trying to deceive, right? And then as far as like the English version of the letter O, I just told you, hey, guess what? Is it the letter O or is it the number 0? But just know if it's the number 0, then you already know that that's non-existent. It's non-existent, people, right? And it's just for the simple fact that now for the 4th letter, right? it pretty much means somewhat. It may mean the exact same thing in the three languages that I actually like really just uh, described, right? But again, I'll be the first one to tell you: don't take my word for it, people. Go and do the research for yourself, right? All what I can do is just put the information out there, right? And then you do with it whatever the hell you want to do with it, right? You can either you can believe it or you can be like, well, damn it, no wonder why we call your motherfucking ass the crazy uncle, because you come up with some of the most outlandish shit ever, right? So my thing is this, people. Now I know what a lot of people are going. Well, you know what? Let me retract that. I'm not gonna sit up here and say that I know what the hell everybody's really gonna talk about or what they actually really gonna say, right? Well, how come this? How come that? How come the other? Right? Well, again, you might want to actually really stop and pay attention who it is that you actually really watching on what my grandma used to say, the idiot box, on a daily basis. And that includes me, right? But at least I have enough about myself to say, hey, guess what? Go and do the research. Go look up this shit for yourself. And then once you actually really get this information, now it's time for your ass to play connect the dots. Connect the dots. Do some comparisons. Do some comparisons, if you will. Right? Because then and only then that you will actually really know what the fuck is going on. The truth was never designed to be pretty. But a lot of motherfuckers were, in trying to make it uglier than what it already is, they try to pretty it up for you. Right? But it's just like what I always say, hey, guess what? If you smell like shit and you try to cover it up, guess what? You still smell like shit. Even if you take some shit and put diamonds in it, guess what? You just prettied it up. It's still shit, people. So that's pretty much it right there. Right there. Let me say first and foremost, let's say I know I'm late for this one, but we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna congratulate the Georgia Bulldogs beating up on those doggone Roll Tide. So I hope that none of you Roll Tide fans actually really jumped out any windows. But I do know that there's actually really help for you Roll Tide fans out there. But just know this. You're probably not going back to the big days no more. Like I say, y'all didn't listen. What's the saying? Every dog has his day. Well, guess what? Y'all y'all ain't no dog, but goddamn it, your day is over with. So, with that being said, tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell Big Dad, tell Big Bertha, your uncle, your auntie, your grandma, your papa, motherfucker next door, cross street round the corner. Paulus Harris, aka Crazy Uncle. Till next time.